Maya Chen's cloth moved in perfect circles across the mahogany conference table as billionaire. Tech CEO Marcus Sterling waved a document like a trophy before his executive team. Anyone who can translate this acquisition proposal? Sterling paused for dramatic effect, his Rolex catching the morning light. Gets my daily salary, $27,400. He nudged Maya's cleaning cart aside with his Italian leather shoe. The conference room erupted in laughter. Executives exchanged knowing glances, the kind that said, "This should be entertaining." Maya kept her eyes down, focusing on removing a coffee ring from the polished wood. Her secret burned behind her teeth. Fluency in Mandarin so perfect, she could taste the mistranslations already forming in their minds. "Maybe we should just use Google Translate," joked Brandon Pierce, VP of Operations, his MIT class ring clinking against his crystal water glass. Probably more reliable than whatever bargain basement service we'd find on a Friday afternoon. More laughter. Sharper, this time. Maya's phone buzzed against her hip. A text from her building manager. Final notice. 72 hours. Court. Monday, 9 a.m. $27,000. The exact amount standing between her family and the street. Her fingers brushed the jade pen hidden in her pocket. Her father's last gift, cool and smooth and weighted with possibility. A skill concealed. A heritage denied. A chance dangling in front of her like bait. The question hung in the air. Would revealing herself to people who looked straight through her bring salvation? Or just a different kind of invisibility? She slipped from the room like smoke. Maya hadn't always been a ghost. 15 years ago, she was the bright-eyed 8-year-old who made her teachers gasp by switching between 3 languages mid-sentence. Her Chinese mother, Lynn, had met her Irish father, Daniel, at an international law conference in Boston. Their love story defied every expectation, bound together by words, by languages, by the bridges they built between their worlds. "Every language is a different way of seeing," Daniel would tell her, his accent softening the Mandarin tones he practiced with her grandmother. "Learn enough of them, and you'll see everything." By 10, Maya could translate heated debates between her Shanghai grandmother and Dublin grandfather, earning proud smiles from both sides of her impossible family. The jade pen had been her 13th birthday gift. Heavy in her palm, its surface carved with characters that read, "Knowledge illuminates darkness. A." 3 months later, Daniel Chen was laid off from Sterling Enterprises. After 16 years building their Asian Pacific division, after opening doors in Shanghai, Tokyo, Singapore, he was erased with a severance package that barely covered 8 weeks of rent. The health insurance vanished overnight. When the persistent cough turned out to be stage 4 lung cancer, the medical bills piled up faster than rejection letters from his job applications. Maya remembered the night her father returned from an interview with Sterling's biggest competitor, his face the color of old paper. "They can't hire me," he'd whispered to Lynn. "Marcus has blacklisted me across the industry." Something about proprietary knowledge. 6 months later, Daniel was gone. Left behind, $186,000 in medical debt, a devastated family. And a jade pen Maya now carried everywhere. Half talisman, half burden. Always a reminder. Lynn took 4 housekeeping jobs. Her engineering degree from Tsinghua University meant nothing without American credentials or the right connections. Maya's dream of a linguistic scholarship evaporated when Lynn's first stroke hit. At 17, Maya abandoned her senior year for immediate work. Now at 23, Maya's life followed a brutal rhythm. Clean offices at Sterling Enterprises, 4 p.m. to midnight. Care for her partially paralyzed mother until dawn. Sleep, 3 hours. Translate academic papers online as Lingua Bridge, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The anonymous translation work paid $28 per hour. Far better than her cleaning job's $14.75. But clients were inconsistent, and revealing her identity meant losing the healthcare coverage her mother desperately needed. The arithmetic of survival. $2,800. Rent, 1-bedroom apartment. $730 medications. $450 medical debt payment. $380 groceries. $245 utilities. Nothing left for savings. Nothing left for living. For 5 years, Maya moved through Sterling Enterprises like a phantom, emptying trash, while executives discussed billion-dollar deals. She'd perfected the art of invisibility while her ears caught everything. Her fluency in Mandarin, Spanish, and English transformed meaningless noise into intelligence. She knew Marcus Sterling had slashed employee retirement benefits while buying a $22 million beach house in Malibu. She knew Brandon Pierce had stolen credit for the Singapore expansion from junior analyst Priya Sharma. She knew the company's diversity commitment was performance art. Maintenance staff were 91% people of color, while executive leadership was 96% white. Knowledge without power. Intelligence without opportunity. Maya cleaned their coffee rings while understanding every word they said about Asian markets, untapped demographics, consumer psychology. The irony wasn't lost on her. But irony didn't stop evictions. The document appeared on Sterling's desk at 10:17 a.m. Friday morning. Maya noticed because she was dusting the trophy case nearby, close enough to see the Shanghai postmark. The logo of Zhang Tech Industries, one of China's largest semiconductor manufacturers. Close enough to see Sterling's perpetually composed face flicker with panic. By noon, the executive floor was chaos. Urgent meeting notifications pinged across every screen. The translation team was scrambled. Then the bad news. Jessica Lin, head translator, was in Beijing for a family emergency. Her 2 associates were at a conference in Frankfurt. Maya emptied wastebaskets methodically, moving through the commotion like air. When Sterling burst from his office, waving the document, she should have left. Her shift ended at noon on Fridays. But curiosity, or maybe fate, kept her there, wiping down surfaces already clean as executives assembled in the conference room. Sterling slammed the document onto the table. Zhang is offering us exclusive manufacturing rights for the Z-series processor. This could triple our market share in Asia. That's incredible news, Brandon ventured, confusion evident in his tone. It would be, Sterling snapped, if we could read the damn thing. It's entirely in Mandarin. Translation team's unavailable. Yang wants a response in 72 hours or they're taking the deal to Samsung. Maya's pulse quickened. She recognized several characters on the cover page, technical terms her father had taught her. Specifications for semiconductor thermal management systems. Can't we use a service? Asked Priya Sharma. For something this confidential? Sterling scoffed. Do you want our competitive advantage leaked across Silicon Valley before lunch? Executives shifted uncomfortably. Maya's cloth moved in silent circles. I'll make it worth someone's while, Sterling continued, his voice taking on a performative edge as he noticed Maya's presence. Translate this 30-page proposal accurately in 48 hours, and I'll pay you my daily salary. That's $27,400. Silence. Then Brandon laughed. Others joined, the sound sharp and nervous. Hell, Sterling added with a smirk toward Maya, even the cleaning lady can take a shot, though I doubt they teach Mandarin in housekeeping school. More laughter. Crueler this time. Maya kept her eyes down, but her fingers tightened around the cleaning cloth until her knuckles went white. We'll divide it among the team, Brandon suggested. Use translation software for the first pass, then refine it. Fine, Sterling conceded. But remember, 72 hours until Zhang walks. These documents don't leave this building. Full security protocols. As executives dispersed, grabbing copies of the document, Maya noticed 2 things. First, they were already butchering the translation. She heard them murmuring about partnership opportunities, when the characters clearly indicated exclusive manufacturing contract with binding arbitration clauses. Second, the 72-hour deadline aligned perfectly with her eviction timeline. Sterling's daily salary would cover her mother's immediate medical needs and the back rent. But revealing her skills could cost her job if she failed. Or worse, if she succeeded and bruised executive egos. And what if the document contained the same predatory policies that destroyed her father's career? Would the same company that ruined her family now profit from her hidden talent? Maya stood at the crossroads, invisible and aching. Maya made her decision at 2:14 a.m. Saturday morning. Standing in her apartment kitchenette, dim light casting shadows across her mother's sleeping form in the converted living room. Medical monitors beeped softly, a blue glow pulsing across Lynn's peaceful face. The eviction notice lay beside Maya's translation notes. 72 hours, circled in red ink. Counting down. She wouldn't reveal herself directly. Not yet. Too dangerous. But she could test the waters. See how valuable her skills might prove. Saturday night found her back at Sterling Enterprises, cleaning uniform her perfect disguise for after-hours access. The security guard nodded as she wheeled her cart past his station. Working weekend overtime, Miguel? E.C. Maya exaggerated her accent slightly, playing the role they expected. Que mi madre needs medicine. Miguel's expression softened. You're a good daughter. Stay safe. In the conference room, executives had abandoned their translation attempts across the whiteboard, a disaster of mangled technical jargon and mistranslated business terms. Maya winced at their interpretations. Using her jade pen, she carefully corrected 3 critical sections. The complex semiconductor terminology flowed from her hand with precision born of years studying beside her father. She signed it simply, a night hawker. The corrections were specific enough to demonstrate expertise, but limited, enough to seem like helpful hints rather than a complete solution. A test balloon. By Sunday morning, her anonymous assistants had created a stir. Maya arrived early, lingering near the conference room door with her cleaning cart. Who the hell is Nighthawk? Sterling demanded inside. Security says nobody unauthorized entered the building, Brandon responded, his voice thoughtful. Must be someone on our team. Through the gap in the door, Maya watched Brandon study the whiteboard, his expression calculating. Then, to her disbelief, he erased her signature. Actually, Brandon said smoothly, turning to Sterling. I did this part. I've been studying Mandarin privately. Didn't want to make a big deal about it until I was more fluent, but given the emergency. Sterling clapped him on the shoulder. Finally, some initiative around here. Take point on this, Pierce. Coordinate the team's efforts. Maya's small victory turned to ash in her mouth. Brandon Pierce, promoted to project lead on her work. The injustice burned. But she couldn't afford indignation. Not with 48 hours remaining before eviction. That night, with her mother finally asleep, Maya spread photographed documents across their kitchen table. Working through the technical portions, she discovered something that turned her blood to ice. The contract included workforce optimization requirements, corporate language that would allow Sterling to eliminate 400 positions at the manufacturing facility in exchange for reduced production costs. Among those workers, her mother's cousin's family, who'd finally found stability after immigrating 18 months ago. Maya sat back, the jade pen suddenly impossibly heavy. Complete the translation anonymously and enable more suffering? Or reveal herself and risk everything? Her phone buzzed. New message from building supervisor. A new security cameras installed in executive wing. All cleaning staff must complete tasks before 7 p.m. starting Monday. No exceptions. The window was closing. Act 5, the trap. With after-hours access restricted, Maya resorted to desperate measures. During her Monday shift, she hid in bathroom stalls during breaks, translating frantically on scraps of paper stuffed in her pockets. She worked through lunch in the supply closet, racing against both Sterling's deadline and her own. 58 hours. Until eviction. By Monday evening, she'd completed roughly 40% of the document. She carefully placed more anonymous Nighthawk notes in the conference room. Brandon kept claiming credit, growing more confident with each successful interpretation. 52 hours. Until eviction. 3 hours. Until Zhang's deadline. Maya's eyes burned from exhaustion. Her hands cramped from writing. Her mother's condition deteriorated. Stress from potential homelessness, spiking her blood pressure to dangerous levels. Necesitamos un milagro, Lynn whispered that night, clutching Maya's hand with trembling fingers. We need a miracle. What her mother didn't know. Maya held the miracle within her grasp. If only she dared reach for it. We have a security breach. The words sliced through Tuesday morning's executive meeting. Maya, arranging coffee service, kept her face neutral as the security chief played footage of a shadowy figure in the conference room after hours. The cameras caught someone, he explained. But the angle doesn't show a face. Could be industrial espionage. Investigate everyone, Sterling ordered, his voice hard. Especially maintenance staff with after-hours access. Maya felt Brandon's gaze fix on her, like a laser sight. Had he connected her to the mysterious translations? By afternoon, security guards were interviewing all cleaning personnel. When Maya's turn came, she played her role perfectly, the simple cleaner, who barely spoke English, confused by complicated questions. No understand problem, she repeated, hating herself for the stereotype, but recognizing its protective power. I clean only. No touch papers. The security chief seemed satisfied, but Brandon lingered after the interview, his MIT ring tapping against the desk, in a rhythm that set Maya's teeth on edge. Interesting, he said, once they were alone. You seem to understand English perfectly when I'm giving cleaning instructions. Maya shrugged, eyes downcast. Instructions simple. Questions complicated. Brandon leaned closer, invading her space. I think you understand more than you let on. Much more. That evening, Maya found her locker had been searched. Her stomach dropped when she realized what was missing. The jade pen. Her father's gift. Her connection. Gone. Looking for this? Brandon twirled the pen between his fingers when he cornered her in the empty break room after her shift. Quite an unusual item for a cleaning lady. He held it up to the light, studying the carved characters. These symbols here, they mean knowledge, don't they? Maya reached for it. Brandon pulled it back, smile widening. Security is every concerned about unauthorized items that could be used for corporate espionage. I've taken the liberty of filing a report. By Wednesday morning, HR had issued Maya a formal warning for possession of unauthorized materials and suspicious behavior. Without her jade pen, without her father's talisman, her anchor, Maya felt unmoored. 34 hours. Until eviction. Her mother had been rushed to the emergency room with chest pains, depleting their meager savings for the ambulance copay. The building manager had posted the final notice. Op YY 48 hours until locks are changed. Desperate, Maya used her lunch break to access Brandon's computer while he attended a meeting. What she discovered horrified her. Brandon had deliberately mistranslated key sections of the Zhang proposal. Sections that would not only harm workers, but potentially violate international trade laws. Sterling was about to sign an agreement that could trigger federal investigations and massive fines. When Maya returned to her cleaning duties, Brandon was waiting. I know it's you, he said without preamble. The mysterious translator. Maya's mask stayed in place, but something in her eyes must have flickered. I checked personnel files, Brandon continued casually. Your mother is Lin Chen, formerly Lin Mei from Shanghai. Your father worked here until we, how shall I put it, right-sized to him. Maya's composure cracked. My father was an invaluable asset to this company. Brandon's eyebrows rose. So she speaks. I wondered how long you'd keep up the act. Give me back my pen. After I speak with immigration about your mother's visa status? Brandon's smile turned predatory. Expired since your father's death, isn't it? Would be a shame if authorities were notified. The threat hung between them, sharp and gleaming. Speak up and face deportation, or stay silent while hundreds lose their livelihoods, and Sterling Enterprises commits corporate suicide. Epi 30 hours say, until eviction. APA 24 hours. Until Zhang's deadline. Maya had never felt more trapped. Or more determined. The emergency board meeting began at 9 a.m. Thursday. Exactly 24 hours before Zhang's deadline. Maya moved silently around the conference room perimeter, pouring coffee and arranging pastries, as Brandon presented his completed translation to Sterling and the board members. As you can see, Brandon explained, pointing to his PowerPoint. The terms are highly favorable. Zhang is offering exclusive manufacturing at rates 18% below market, with minimal quality control oversight. Maya winced. The document actually specified stringent quality control protocols with 18% va higher tolerance standards, than industry average. Their only unusual request, Brandon continued, is accelerated production. Scheduling using what translates roughly as modified staff allocations. Maya's hands trembled as she refilled the water pitcher. Brandon was deliberately obscuring the mass layoffs the contract would require. There's a technical section about the Alyudonga process that's still unclear, Brandon admitted. Butchering the pronunciation so badly, Maya couldn't stop herself from flinching. Sterling noticed. Something wrong? All eyes turned to her. The moment stretched. Her future balanced on a knife's edge. Alyudong mo xing, Maya corrected softly, the proper tones flowing naturally. It means fluid modeling system, not whatever he said. The room froze. Brandon's face darkened. Excuse me? Maya straightened her shoulders. 16 years of language study overtaking 5 years of practiced invisibility. You've mistranslated several critical sections. Alyudong mo xingge refers to the semiconductor's thermal management system, which requires specialized handling during manufacturing. It's not about staff reallocation. It's about technical specifications. How dare you interrupt, Brandon began. You speak Mandarin? Sterling demanded, studying Maya as if seeing her for the first time. Mandarin, Spanish, and English, Maya answered, her heart a war drum in her chest. I also read Japanese and Korean, though my speaking fluency in those is limited. She's lying, Brandon interjected. She's just a cleaner. My father was Daniel Chen. Maya continued, each word gaining confidence. He built your Asia-Pacific division before your strategic restructuring 5 years ago. He taught me business Mandarin and technical terminology since I was 6 years old. Recognition flickered in Sterling's eyes. Chen. I remember him. This is absurd, Brandon protested. She's probably working for our competitors. Check my credentials, Maya challenged, pulling out her phone to display her profile on translation-pro.com. I work under the username Lingua Bridge. 4.98 rating. Over 600 academic and technical translations completed, specializing in engineering and business documents. Sterling took her phone, scrolling through the impressive client list and glowing testimonials. His business instincts clearly wrestling with his prejudices. Mr. Pierce, Maya continued, addressing the board directly, your translation mentions nothing about quality control protocols. It also obscures the fact that Zhang is requiring you to eliminate 400 manufacturing positions as a condition of the deal, which would violate 3 separate labor agreements you've signed. The board members murmured, looking between Brandon and Maya. This is outrageous, Brandon sputtered. You can't possibly. Page 16, paragraph 4. Maya recited from memory. The characters clearly state that Sterling Enterprises must implement workforce reduction measures of no less than 400 positions within 60 days of contract execution. I can read the entire section verbatim if you'd like. Sterling studied her for a long moment. Calculation replacing surprise. You claim you can translate this entire document accurately? I've already translated about 60% of it, Maya admitted. I was leaving anonymous notes to help. The ones Mr. Pierce has been taking credit for. Brandon's face flushed crimson as heads turned toward him. You were Nighthawk? Sterling asked. Maya nodded. A slow smile spread across Sterling's face. Not warm. Predatory. Recognizing opportunity. My offer stands, he said. Translate the complete document by tomorrow's 9 a.m. deadline. My daily salary is yours. $27,400. Maya took a breath. I want it in writing, she countered, surprising herself with her boldness. And I want my pen back. Your pen? My Jade translator's pen. Mr. Pierce confiscated it yesterday and filed it as suspicious material. All eyes turned to Brandon, who reluctantly pulled the pen from his jacket pocket. And, Maya added, momentum building. I want a written contract guaranteeing my continued employment regardless of the translation outcome, with a confidentiality clause protecting my mother's immigration status. The room fell silent at her audacity. Sterling studied her with something that might have been respect. Draw up the agreement, he finally instructed his assistant. And get Ms. Chen whatever resources she needs. As the jade pen was returned to her hand, Maya felt its familiar weight. Cool. Solid. A grounding. Effort, 18 hours. To translate the remaining document. Rs. 6 hours, until her mother faced eviction. For the first time in 5 years, Maya was visible. For better or worse. Maya worked through the night in a small conference room, fueled by adrenaline and vending machine coffee. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, jade pen in hand, guiding her through complex technical terminology and cultural nuances that machine translation could never capture. By 3 a.m., her eyes burned. Characters swam on the page. She'd completed nearly 85% of the translation, carefully noting discrepancies between what Zhang was actually offering and what Brandon had claimed. The truth lived somewhere between extremes, not as rosy as Brandon painted it, but not as exploitative as she'd initially feared. The workforce reductions were as suggested, not required. Zhang had included provisions for extensive retraining programs. Her phone buzzed. Neighbor. The doctor's keeping your mom another day. Need $2,200 deposit for continued care. Maya massaged her temples. Epio 30 hours Saka. Until eviction. Epar 6 hours R. Until her translation deadline. She allowed herself a moment of hope. Sterling's money would solve their immediate crisis. She could negotiate with the landlord, pay the hospital, maybe even find better housing closer to medical facilities. She rested her head on her arms. Just for a moment. The crash of coffee exploding across her desk jolted Maya awake. She gasped as scalding liquid drenched her handwritten notes and flooded her laptop keyboard. Oh, a clumsy me. Brandon stood over her, empty cup in hand, fake concern plastered across his face. I was just bringing you a fresh cup. You looked so exhausted. Maya jumped up, frantically dabbing at the spreading liquid with tissues. Her laptop screen flickered, went black. My translation. Don't worry, Brandon said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I took the liberty of moving your digital files to my secure drive for safekeeping. Can't be too careful with such sensitive material. Give them back. I would, but unfortunately there seems to have been some sort of corruption. Technical glitch. He shrugged. These things happen. The digital backup was gone. 4 hours before deadline. Maya would need to reconstruct critical sections from memory, and the coffee-stained notes that remained legible. As Brandon sauntered toward the door, he called over his shoulder. Sterling expects e-perfectiona. One mistranslated clause could cost the company millions. I'm sure he'll understand if you need to withdraw. Maya's phone buzzed. A building manager. Eviction processor coming tomorrow morning instead of Monday. Legal approved acceleration due to repeated late payments. She stared at the ruined papers. The dead laptop. Walls closing in. Epawaro 3 hours of work lost. Mother in the hospital. Eviction imminent. Brandon had outmaneuvered her at every turn. For one moment, she considered giving up, walking away, finding another cleaning job somewhere Sterling and Brandon couldn't touch her. Then her phone rang. The hospital. Her mother's condition had worsened. They needed payment authorization for additional treatment. Maya worked frantically, recreating translations from memory, her hand cramping around the jade pen. 2 hours passed. 3. As dawn broke, exhaustion overtook her. Her head drooped, eyes closing despite her best efforts. She awakened to Sterling standing over her, Brandon smirking behind him. The wall clock showed 8:47 a.m. 13 minutes, sir, until deadline. I expected this, Sterling announced, taking in her disheveled appearance, the scattered papers, the coffee stains. People should stay in their lanes, housekeepers clean, executives execute. That's the natural order. He turned to his assistant. Draft a termination notice. Miss Chen clearly violated company policy by accessing confidential documents without proper authorization. But our agreement, Maya protested, was contingent on e-delivery. Sterling cut her off. And you failed. Call Translation Pro, Sterling instructed Brandon. See if they can start from scratch this afternoon. We'll ask Zhang for an extension. Brandon's triumphant expression said everything. Maya sat frozen, watching her one chance at salvation collapse under corporate cruelty. Her father's voice echoed in memory. Every language is a different way of seeing. But what happened when the people with power refused to see you at all? Had she risked everything only to end up worse than before? As Sterling turned to leave, Maya's gaze fell on her bag. The edge of a notebook peeking out. Her father's research journal. She'd brought it for reference. Forgotten. Until this moment. Wait, she called. New clarity cutting through exhaustion. Sterling paused at the door. Irritation evident. We're done here. My father worked on this exactor technology, Maya said, pulling out the journal. The ZX7 semiconductor series. He was part of the original development team before Zhang acquired the patent. She flipped through pages, finding her father's detailed notes on the manufacturing process. Diagrams, specifications, testing parameters. Information not even included in Zhang's documents because they assumed. Sterling Enterprises already understood the foundational technology. These notes contain details about the thermal modeling system that aren't explained in the proposal, Maya said, standing straighter. Proprietary knowledge. I can complete this translation with technical precision no translation agency could match. Sterling studied her, recalculating. You have 10 minutes, he said finally. Maya worked with renewed focus, her father's journal open beside her. The jade pen moved across paper with certainty, filling gaps, clarifying ambiguities. Noting technical specifications that Zhang's document only referenced obliquely. At precisely 8:58 a.m. she walked into the boardroom where executives had gathered for the Zhang video conference. She placed the completed translation before Sterling. He scanned it skeptically. The video call is starting, his assistant announced. Sterling hesitated, glancing between the translation, Brandon, and Maya. Miss Chen, perhaps you should... I'll wait outside, Maya said, turning to leave. Actually, came a voice from the video screen, we would prefer if Miss Chen stayed. Everyone turned to the large display. Zhang Wei, CEO of Zhang Industries, appeared with his executive team. Beside him sat a familiar face that made Maya's breath catch. Mr. Jiang, her father's former colleague. Ichin Xiaoji, Jiang said in Mandarin. Dishi vo de rongxing jiandao chen danier de nuer. Ta jing chang tan chi ni de yu yan tian fu da ti. Ms. Chen, it is my honor to meet Daniel Chen's daughter. He spoke often of your linguistic gifts. Maya responded in flawless Mandarin, surprise giving way to understanding. Rongxing shivo de jiang shansheng. Vo bu jidao nin jidao wo zai jeli gongzhou da tia. The honor is mine, Mr. Jiang. I didn't realize you were aware of my employment here. Women bu jidao, Zhang Wei interjected. Jidao women de qingbao tuandui. Zui dao yuren jingzai junkifani women gui fuza de ti. Henshao yuren neng jungque chuli jexi jishu shuyuta. We weren't. Until our intelligence team noted someone was accurately translating our deliberately complex proposal. Few people could navigate those technical terms correctly. Sterling looked between them, understanding nothing of the rapid Mandarin exchange. Growing increasingly uncomfortable, Maya switched to English. A small mercy. Mr. Zhang says they included technical complexities as a test. They wanted to see if Sterling Enterprises still retained the expertise my father helped build. And? Sterling asked cautiously. Do we pass? That depends, Maya answered. She switched back to Mandarin, addressing Zhang directly. Keti zhongbao han guanyu laodongli yaochu de mohu jichu, kening bei jieshi wei yaochu kayuan. Jieshi gui de ma? The proposal contains ambiguities regarding workforce requirements that could be interpreted as requiring layoffs. Was this intentional? A subtle smile crossed Zhang's face. Fifaichang minrui. Women dui chen shansheng likai ho Sterling de laodong zuofa dangshin. Laodongli yuyan gui mohu. Yi guancha tamen hui, ruhe jieshi ta da. Very perceptive. We have concerns about Sterling's labor practices since Mr. Chen's departure. The workforce language was deliberately ambiguous to see how they would interpret it. Maya turned to Sterling and the board. Jiang Industries is concerned about your company's approach to workforce management. They included that section as a character test. Brandon stepped forward. This is ridiculous. She's making this up to... Perhaps, Maya interrupted coolly, Mr. Pierce would like to explain why he deliberately mistranslated key sections and sabotaged my work. She pulled out her phone, showing security footage she'd recovered during her sleepless night. Brandon clearly visible pouring coffee on her computer, deleting files from her directory. The room fell silent. Sterling's expression hardened as he watched the indisputable evidence. Mr. Pierce, he said quietly, dangerously, you're fired. Security will escort you out. As Brandon was removed, protesting loudly, desperately, Zhang spoke again in Mandarin. A women jiang yi yi ge tiao jian jingxing heiyue, chen xiaoji jian shi shi shi, zuo wei women de wenhua, lian se ren te. We will proceed with the contract on one condition, that Ms. Chen oversees the implementation as our cultural liaison. The jade pen moved confidently across Maya's notes, as she translated the conversation in real time. Its smooth surface catching the light, leaving crisp blue characters that smelled faintly of sandalwood and possibility. No longer a memento of loss, an instrument of her authority. They insist on working directly with me, Maya explained, as a condition of the deal. The power dynamic in the room shifted palpably. Sterling studied her, recognizing the leverage she now held. With Zhang's deadline minutes away and hundreds of millions at stake, he had no choice. Fine, he conceded. Ms. Chen will oversee cultural aspects of the implementation. The video call concluded with Zhang expressing his pleasure at finding Daniel Chen's legacy alive at Sterling Enterprises. As executives dispersed, Sterling approached Maya. It seems I underestimated you. Many people do, Maya replied simply. Our agreement stands. He wrote a check for $27,400. His daily salary. Though it appears, he added, you've earned considerably more than that. As cameras recorded the official contract signing for company records, Zhang made one final request via email. A $50,000 signing bonus, specifically designated for cultural consultancy services provided by Maya Chen, with each $77,400 in hand. Enough to save her mother's medical care, stop the eviction, and provide breathing room for the first time in years. Maya finally allowed herself to exhale. The jade pen rested in her hand. No longer a burden of the past,